brother got his wife, his partner pregnant. I've been through that there, right? So I'll tell you a story about Billy Ayers. Now here's the tale of Billy Ayers from out near Alice Springs. He's a wild young rinner in his days. He's done some crazy things. He jumped bulls over fences, raced a colt up to Ayers Rock. See his legs? They weren't built for walking, they was meant for riding stock. And he's a legend around the rodeos from Aileron to Broome, and an untried horse at 6 AM was saddled broke by noon. And no form of equine foolery, Bill wasn't game to try. Only one thing ever spooked him. He was way too scared to fly. Now if I was meant to do it, I'd have feathers and a beak. You could take the plane in a day, I'd drive and waste a week. I've been told they're safe as houses, mechanically they sound, but I don't see no rope or bridle, so I'm sticking on the ground. But one day, Billy gets a phone call from his mate in Adelaide. He got his girl into trouble, so the wedding cards was played. Now Billy, I don't be caring how you do it, you can beg or steal or borrow, but mate, you've got to catch the aeroplane because the big day's on the bar. Well, Billy cursed and spat and said it don't be bloody coot. He'd be knowing I'd jump on anything coming out of shoot. I've caught stallions that'd kill you, and I've caught bulls going off their brain, but I never thought there'd be a day I'd have to catch a plane. So he legs it to the airport and he thought, no, well, this is it. And the lady at the counter asked, where would you like to sit? Well, you'll be knowing that black box thing they always seem to find, where you can put me right inside it if you wouldn't bloody mind. Well, the lady smiled politely and said, I'll just take your bag. And Bill said, I wouldn't bloody think so. And by the way, that's called a swag. Well, Bill was bleeding buckets when they finally cleared the strip. He had his seatbelt on that tight, he was bleeding from the... But when they levelled out, he stopped shaking at the knees, he looked around, relaxed and thought, hey, this flying game's a breeze. So he clipped his belt undone and stretched out in his seat, but he couldn't stretch that far because his swag lay at his feet. Then the captain, he crackled something and Bill asked the hostess what was said. So you better buckle up, there's turbulence in. Turbulence? Who that? Sir, it's pockets caused by heat. And when it gets severe, it can throw you from your seat. Throw me, I'll be stuffed. He pushed his seat like that, wrapped his legs around his swag and stuck his left hand through the strap. He jammed down his Cooper, he was ready now to ride, and things got pretty bumpy and Billy yelled, outside! Well, the plane she drops 1,000 feet, rode up 500 more when his head near hit the seal and he gave a mighty roar. I've been riding through the territory and never come unstuck, so give me all you got, big bird, and buck you. Well, the passengers, they were screaming in fear of certain death, but that didn't worry Billy. But Billy just whooped and hollered till he near ran out of breath. You would have thought that canvas swag was welded to his arse, and before the ringer knew it, he'd bucked up to business class. There seemed no way to stop this mount. It had 10 gears in reverse. That didn't worry Billy, he just bucked on through the fur. He'd done somersaults with twists on this mongrel mount from hell, and he yelled out to the pilot, for Christ's sake, ring the bloody bell! Well, Billy he's bleeding from the bugle and he had cuts above both eyes. If you weren't there on the spot, you'd probably think I'm telling lies. He'd been upside down and inside out, done flips and triple spins. If you weren't there on the spot, no. You might have seen some good rides in your times, but hands down, Billy went. Then the flight, well, it returned to normal, and Bill, well, he's flat out on the deck, still stuck to his swag. Well, shit, he looked a mess, but he pulled himself together, stood up and raised his hat and said, "Of course, I've had a few tough rides in my time, but never one like that. An 8-second spin in Alice proves you're made of sturdy stuff. But I wasn't on damn near a minute, and I reckon that's enough." And the first class folk, they were dumbstruck at this crazy ringer's feat. But Bill, he just grabbed a crownie and walked back to his seat. Now years have passed and Bill, well, he's long give the bucking game away, too many breaks and dusty miles for far too little pay. And planes, well now they're not a problem. Bill, he'd rather fly than ride. And when you talk about his maiden voyage, his chest puffs out with pride. You can talk about your Rocky Neds and that old Tangle, but while I'd ride them both without a rope and roll a bloody bunk. There's cowboys round that think they's hot, but they ain't tasted heat till they've ridden time on Turbulence at 30,000 feet. I know, who's shouting above?
Yeah, hey, shouting above. So what do we need?
Henry Lawson, I only know one Henry Lawson.
You put